A respected police officer faces the death penalty after a shocking betrayal, and hope seems lost, until her loyal German Shepherd takes an unthinkable stand. Watch how this incredible German Shepherd risks everything to uncover the truth and bring justice back to the city. This is a story of loyalty, courage, and the unstoppable bond between a German Shepherd and his human. Love heart-stopping rescues and unbelievable German Shepherd heroics. Subscribe now for more inspiring true stories every week. Chicago before sunrise is a city of stone and shadow, the courthouse looming like some ancient beast in the weak gray light. Morgan Avery stands in the prisoner's box, her hands cuffed so tightly the steel bites into her skin. All around her, the air is thick with judgment. 100 eyes from press, police, even her own family, locked on her like she's already guilty. Morgan was once a decorated officer, a hero with medals and scars to prove it. Today, she's the main event, accused of murdering a known criminal, caught by security footage, with fingerprints and a witness who swears he saw everything. The evidence stacks up against her like bricks in a wall. Lieutenant Eric Hawkins, a man she once trusted, stands before the microphones and calls her a disgrace to the badge. Every camera flashes. Every word stings. Major Morgan's German Shepherd and partner for 6 years is barely restrained by his new handler. His thick coat bristles, lips curled in a silent snarl, eyes fixed on Morgan as she's led past. He thrashes at the end of the leash, a wild, desperate energy pulsing through him. His howl echoes off the marble and glass, raw, mourning, accusing. No one else seems to notice, but Morgan does. She meets his gaze as the courtroom doors close, her heart cracking at the fear in his golden eyes. Powerless, forgotten. As she's dragged down the corridor, her mind spins through every moment of her career, every sacrifice, every time she did the right thing even when it hurt. And now, this. Betrayal so deep it cuts beyond flesh and bone. She isn't afraid to die. What she fears is being erased, the truth dying with her while the world moves on. Even the few officers who hesitate, who look away with regret or confusion, don't lift a finger. Upstairs, as the press swarms, Hawkins grins for the cameras, spinning a story about justice and integrity. The city eats it up. But down in the holding cell, Morgan knows something is terribly wrong. The details never added up. The way the footage skipped, the way the prints appeared almost too perfect, but nobody wants to hear it. Back in the courtroom, Major refuses to sit still. He lunges again and again, refusing treats, refusing comfort. His handler, annoyed, yanks him away, but Major's stare never leaves the last place he saw Morgan. He whines low and mournful until even the bailiff shoots him a nervous glance. To the world, he's just a loyal K9. But to Morgan, that desperate energy is a signal. He knows something nobody else does. The press catches the scene, the fallen cop, and her wild, grieving dog. Online, people debate, some calling for her head, some questioning the case. But most, even her friends, stay silent, afraid to risk their own safety or reputations. Morgan sits alone in her cell, eyes closed, recalling Major's howl. For a second, she lets herself hope that someone, anyone, might dig deeper. That night, in a side office, Hawkins receives a silent text. Handled. He deletes it, then walks to the evidence locker, key turning smoothly in the lock. In her cell, Morgan can't sleep. Her memories drift to the first day she met Major, a puppy with 2 big paws and endless faith in her. She wonders if he's still fighting, or if by morning, the system will have broken him too. But outside, as the courthouse empties, a single figure stands in the rain, Logan Barrett, Morgan's former partner. He sees Major's agitation, hears that wild howl. Something about it makes him pause. He watches as the dog refuses to be led away, paws planted stubbornly on the slick stone, eyes burning with conviction. As dawn bleeds into the sky, Major's restlessness lingers in the air. There's something wrong that only he can see, something that tugs at the edges of logic and faith. Morgan, her head in her hands, feels that invisible thread between her and Major stretching but unbroken. For the first time since the nightmare began, she lets herself believe, however faintly, that the truth might find a way out. Outside the courthouse, a shadow passes beneath a flickering streetlight. The city moves on, unaware, but Major stands in the rain, watching the door, refusing to leave. A storm is coming, and neither man nor beast will rest until justice, real justice, has its day. Rain slides down the kennel roof in gray sheets, tracing muddy rivers across concrete. Inside the cinder-block building behind Chicago's police HQ, the K-9 unit smells of wet fur and resignation. Major lies by the chain-link gate of his pen, ignoring the dry food in his bowl, ears pricked toward the hallway that never delivers what he waits for. Morgan's voice, Morgan's scent. He refuses to eat, he refuses to rest. Each shift change, he sits up with a start. Hope flickers in his eyes, dies out, replaced by something darker, heavier. Handlers come and go, some gentle, most just hurried. Major doesn't care. His new handler, a young officer with kind hands and a nervous laugh, tries all the tricks, treats tennis balls, even an old worn towel from Morgan's locker. Major turns away, nose pressed to the metal gate, tail still and flat. The other dogs sense it too. A hush settles, broken only by the occasional bark echoing down the wet corridor. Outside, lightning stabs the sky, illuminating the silhouette of Logan Barrett standing under the entry awning. He hasn't slept in days, haunted by the look in Morgan's eyes when they took her away. Logan is a big man, older now, his face lined from years of believing the job was always black or white. Now he feels the ground slipping under his feet. He watches Major through the mesh, something twisting inside him as he sees the dog's silent vigil. He knows loyalty. He knows grief. He feels it every time he closes his eyes. By the third day, Major has eaten almost nothing. He paces, restless, wearing grooves in the concrete. Sometimes late at night, he lunges at shadows only he can see, teeth bared, growl deep and guttural. The vet shrugs. He's mourning. He'll adjust. But Logan knows better. Some losses never heal. Some bonds never break, even when the world says they must. Logan fills out the paperwork quietly, not telling anyone but the old sergeant on duty. "I'll take him. He needs family," he says, voice rough. The sergeant just nods, a trace of respect flickering in his eyes. Logan takes Major home that night, the city's rain-blurring headlights and taillights alike, the world a kaleidoscope of sorrow and stubborn hope. Logan's house is small and quiet. The floors are scuffed, the sofa chewed in one corner, memories of an old life, a wife gone, a son he barely speaks to. He lays a thick blanket by the couch, opens a can of food, sits on the rug waiting for Major to join him. But Major doesn't settle. All night he paces, nose to the door, hackles rising at every creak and groan. Once, around 3 a.m., he stands rigid, staring into a dark corner, a low growl rumbling deep in his chest. Logan sits up, heart pounding. There's nothing there, just the empty air and the sound of rain. Major's eyes glitter, wild and haunted. By morning, Logan is exhausted, nerves frayed raw. He makes coffee, sits at the kitchen table watching the dog. The Major stands at the door, unmoving, waiting for a command that never comes. Logan kneels beside him, resting a hand on the dog's shoulder, the weight of grief pressing down on them both. He murmurs, "She's not coming home. Not yet. But you and me, we gotta hang on." Major leans into him just for a second, a tremor running through his body. The days drag on. Logan takes Major for walks through rain-soaked alleys, down to the riverfront where the wind whips the water into froth. But Major doesn't play. He doesn't chase the squirrels or snuffle the old garbage cans the way he used to with Morgan. Instead, he stalks the shadows, alert, bristling with silent warning. Sometimes Logan catches him staring at nothing, ears flattened, as if listening to secrets only dogs can hear. One night, Logan returns late from the precinct, face tight, jaw clenched from another argument with internal affairs. Major is waiting by the door, body tense, tail stiff. Logan drops his keys, mutters, "Long day, buddy," and turns to hang up his coat. That's when Major lunges at the front door, claws raking the wood, barking with sudden frantic urgency. Logan jolts, adrenaline surging. He grabs his old service pistol and flicks off the safety, heart hammering in his chest. He presses his ear to the door. Outside, the city is quiet, but there's a scraping sound, soft, deliberate. Someone is moving in the alley, just beyond the light. Major whines, pacing, eyes never leaving the door. Logan's skin prickles with fear. He remembers the case files piling up, the messages he shouldn't have received, the warnings whispered in corridors. Back off, Barrett. This one's too big. He moves to the window, careful, silent. In the shadows, a dark shape slips away, melting into the rain. Logan exhales, relief and dread tangling in his gut. Major's hackles slowly lower, but his eyes never soften. He returns to the door, lies down, chin on his paws, watching, waiting. That night, Logan doesn't sleep. He sits on the sofa, watching Major breathe, the soft rise and fall of the dog's chest the only steady thing in his broken world. Outside, thunder rolls over the city, shaking the glass. Major doesn't rest. He's not just grieving, he's guarding, warning, hoping. His loyalty is absolute, a blade that cuts both ways. He will not let go of Morgan. He will not accept a new partner, not yet, not ever, if he can help it. Logan looks at the dog and knows something is coming. Major can sense what others can't. The world may have moved on, but neither of them will give up. Not until the truth finds daylight. Not until justice is done. And in that restless vigil, in the storm's uncertain dark, a fragile hope is born. Midnight. Rain needles down in relentless icy sheets, painting Chicago's back alleys in streaks of shadow and cold silver. Logan Barrett shivers as he locks his car and snaps the leash onto Major's collar. The city is quieter than usual, wrong kind of quiet, like it's holding its breath. He knows he should be at home, sleeping, trying to heal. But Major has been different all day, restless, tense, whimpering at the back door, insistent. It's not hunger or habit, it's a purpose he can't put into words. Logan trusts that instinct, just like he always trusted Morgan's. So when Major starts tugging toward the south side, Logan follows. Past shuttered storefronts, cracked pavement, the scent of rain, oil, and something else, something sharp, chemical. The night is empty except for the hollow rattle of a loose gutter and the distant whoop of sirens. They reach the alley where the murder supposedly happened, the alley that sent Morgan's life into free fall. It looks the same as in the security footage, puddles reflecting a flickering neon sign, overflowing dumpster, bricks slick and black. Logan's flashlight barely dents the darkness. Major sniffs the air, tail rigid, then yanks hard, dragging Logan deeper. Logan lets him lead, boots slipping in the wet. Major stops near the dumpster, paws scrabbling at the muck-caked ground. He circles, nose buried in trash, then suddenly scratches furiously at a patch of gravel. There's a sound, soft, artificial, not quite right. Logan kneels, brushing aside wrappers and broken glass. His fingers close on something cool and slick, nearly impossible to see in the gloom. He stands, heart pounding, and holds it up, a strip of what looks like human skin. For a split second, dread clamps down. Did he just pick up a piece of a body? But no, it's off. The texture is wrong, too smooth, almost rubbery, but warm from the rain and Logan's own trembling hand. The edges are feathered, as if it's been torn or peeled away. He turns it over in the flashlight beam. It looks disturbingly real. Pores, hair follicles, even the faint whirls of a fingerprint. Major sits staring up at him, whining, a soft, urgent sound. Logan's stomach churns. He reaches into his jacket for a forensic bag, seals the object away, and calls in a favor at the overnight crime lab. Top priority. Discreet, he growls into the phone. He doesn't say why. Not yet. They walk home, both soaked, the evidence bag heavy in Logan's pocket like a live coal. All the way, Major glances back at the alley as if expecting something, someone, to follow. At every crosswalk, his ears flick toward invisible threats. Logan finds himself matching the dog's tension, nerves raw. What if they're being watched? Back at the apartment, Logan towels Major off, but the dog just stands by the window, eyes locked on the darkness outside. Logan stares at the piece of skin on the kitchen table, the questions swirling. How did this thing end up at the murder scene? Who or what was Morgan framed by? He tries to sleep, but dreams chase him. Faceless men shifting identities, Morgan's desperate eyes behind prison glass. Major whimpers in his sleep, legs twitching, caught in the same nightmare. By dawn, the call comes from the lab. The voice is thin, uncertain. Logan, it's not human, not even animal. Synthetic, some kind of advanced polymer. But get this, it's laced with microelectronics and biometric sensors. I ran a scan. The pattern matches the face of the victim. It's a mask. A really, really good mask. Logan sits up, pulse thundering. You're telling me someone wore this and, what, fooled the cameras, the security, everything? Yeah, and if you hadn't found this, nobody would have ever known. Logan hangs up, mind racing. Someone engineered this, someone with money, resources, and motive. The idea is almost too big, too outlandish. But Major's nose hasn't lied in 6 years. He leans down, rubs the dog's ears. Good boy, he whispers, voice rough. Later that morning, Logan calls Sean Beck, an old friend turned investigative journalist. I need you to see something, Logan says. He doesn't elaborate. They meet at a coffee shop downtown, the city coming alive with commuters and rain-splattered taxis. Sean is skeptical until Logan slides the evidence bag across the table. Sean inspects it, eyebrows arching. Jesus, Logan, where did you get this? Same place Morgan was supposedly caught on camera. Major found it. Sean turns the mask over, eyes narrowing. This is next-level tech, government, black market? Logan shakes his head. Whoever set Morgan up wanted it to be perfect. Too perfect. There's a group behind this, I can feel it. Sean glances out the window, lowering his voice. You know how dangerous this is? If they're this careful, this sophisticated, what else are they hiding? Logan stares at Major, who sits beneath the table, body coiled, gaze never leaving the door. He thinks about all the times he dismissed Morgan's instincts, all the times he trusted the system. Regret gnaws at him. Someone wants her out of the way, Logan says, and they're not done. That night, Logan walks Major along the riverside, thinking. He feels exposed. Every shadow seems deeper, every face unfamiliar. Major nudges his hand, grounding him, reminding him of the truth they carry now. The mask changes everything. It means Morgan's not just innocent. She's a target. They both are. As rain begins to fall again, Logan looks out over the city. Somewhere out there, the real killer walks free, hiding behind another face, another name. But they left something behind, a crack in the armor. And Major, loyal to the end, was the only one who saw it. The world hasn't shifted yet, but for Logan and Major, nothing will ever be the same. There's no turning back, only forward, into the storm. Chicago's night leans heavy against the glass, pushing yellow streetlight through Logan's apartment window. Inside, the atmosphere is thick, shadows pooling in corners, the air prickling with secrets. Logan sits hunched at his cluttered kitchen table, knuckles white around a cup of cooling coffee. The mask, now zipped in a forensic bag, lies at the center of the table, illuminated only by a single desk lamp. Major lies at Logan's feet, ears up, always alert. Every passing car outside, every distant bark, every creak in the building draws his attention. He's not just a pet, he's a sentinel, still bracing for the next disaster. Logan's phone buzzes. It's Sean Beck, the journalist, his voice scratchy with exhaustion, but edged with excitement. I'm outside, he mutters. Let me up. Moments later, Sean steps in, brushing rain off his jacket, gaze darting over the room, paranoid, professional. He pulls out a battered laptop, slides into the chair across from Logan, and nods at the forensic bag. Logan's voice is hoarse, stretched thin by anxiety. Did you find anything? Sean doesn't answer right away. He opens his laptop, typing furiously. Whoever framed Morgan has connections. Deep ones. He flips the screen toward Logan. Surveillance footage, bank records, emails, dozens of names, transactions, images. He points at one. See this? A company called Templar Dynamics, Shell Corporation's hidden investors. But all roads point to one thing, Black Widow. Logan stiffens. I've heard that name before. Sean nods. Underground assassin ring, old legend in the city, ghosts who kill for hire, untouchable. But lately someone's been using tech like this. He taps the evidence bag, face grim. Biopolymer masks. They can mimic skin, fool cameras, even trick biometric sensors. And Black Widow's symbol keeps showing up, a triangle with a line through it. Logan closes his eyes, the weight of guilt pressing down. I doubted her, Sean. I doubted Morgan. I thought, maybe she lost it. Maybe she did something desperate. But this, he gestures to the mask. This proves she's not just innocent. She's being hunted. Major lifts his head at Logan's words, eyes searching, as if sensing the gravity in the room. He pads over, nudging Logan's hand with his cold nose, a silent offer of comfort. Sean studies the dog, then lowers his voice. Logan, if Black Widow's involved, there are cops on their payroll. Maybe even higher up. Morgan was the best. Maybe too good. Maybe she saw something she shouldn't have. Logan rubs his temples, pain threading through every muscle. I can't protect her. Not from in here. And if they know I'm digging. He glances at Major, worry flickering in his eyes. They'll come after us too. Major shifts, restless. He doesn't whine or bark, but his tail taps a warning against the floor. It's enough to make Logan tense. The apartment feels suddenly smaller. Logan stands, crossing to the window, staring down at the silent, rain-washed street. He remembers a time when he and Morgan patrolled together, joking about city politics, dreaming they could change things from the inside. Now, every shadow looks like a threat. Sean sifts through his notes, then pauses. At the last crime scene, the one Morgan supposedly killed that dealer, there was a symbol. Someone painted it on the fire escape. Same triangle, same line. He pushes a blurry photo toward Logan. That's their calling card. This isn't just about Morgan. Someone's tying up loose ends, making sure nobody talks. Logan feels something cold and metallic in his chest. You think Hawkins is involved? He asks, voice barely above a whisper. Sean's mouth twists. If Hawkins isn't, he's in over his head. But Deputy Chief Price, he's worse. He's untouchable, connected everywhere. You bring this evidence to the wrong person, you disappear. Simple as that. A beat of silence passes. Outside, thunder rolls, rattling the window panes. Major stands now, body tense, watching both men as if waiting for a command. Logan looks down at him, then at Sean. I need your help, Logan says quietly. I need you to get this story out if anything happens to me. And Major, he can't go back to the K-9 unit. He'll never survive it. Sean nods, grave. I'll keep copies of everything. I'll run with it if I have to, but you need to stay alive long enough to see it through. Logan returns to the table, slumping into his chair. He strokes Major's fur, feeling the dog's steady heartbeat under his hand, a lifeline. I was so sure I knew the rules, he murmurs, so sure the badge meant something. Now I don't know who to trust. Except you, boy. Major leans in, eyes bright, the silent promise in his gaze stronger than any words. Sean packs up his laptop, leaving behind a burner phone and a USB drive. If you see that symbol again, run. Don't look back. The night drags on. Logan can't sleep. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees Morgan, trapped, alone, betrayed. He sees Major bleeding in the rain, protecting what's left of their world. The city outside is a maze of shifting faces and hidden knives, but in the hush of that small apartment, the bond between man and dog becomes something unbreakable. At dawn, Logan rises, exhaustion heavy in his bones. Major is waiting by the door, tail wagging, ready for whatever comes next. For the first time since Morgan's arrest, Logan feels a flicker of resolve. The game has changed. They're not just fighting for Morgan. They're fighting to drag the truth into the light. And this time, they won't be alone. The Chicago night feels colder than usual as Logan guides Major into the police HQ's dimly lit evidence room. The air buzzes with fluorescent lights and paranoia. Logan's badge is still good enough to get him in after hours, but his hands tremble as he unlocks the cage holding the evidence boxes from Morgan's case. His heart hammers, a mix of fear, shame, and stubborn hope. He keeps one eye on the door, the other on Major, whose nose twitches at the scent of old sweat and secrets. Major paces behind him, hackles slightly raised. To anyone else, he's just a dog restless in unfamiliar territory. But Logan knows better. Major's every sense is dialed up. Every shadow, every muffled footstep. He's clocking threats. It's contagious. Logan moves quietly, flipping through files, avoiding the security cameras as best he can. His mouth is dry. He's never done this before, never needed to. He always believed the system would police itself. Tonight, that illusion is as dead as the men in the case files. He's looking for anything that connects Morgan's frame-up to the Black Widow ring Sean uncovered. In the bottom of a battered box, he finds it. A bloody glove in a sealed plastic bag, evidence from the same night Morgan was arrested. Logan squints. There's a red mark on the inside, a small tattoo like a triangle slashed through with a line. His pulse jumps. He snaps photos on his burner phone and carefully slips the bag into his jacket. Major suddenly growls, deep and warning. Footsteps echo in the hallway. Logan freezes, trying not to breathe. Someone rattles the doorknob, then moves on. Logan and Major lock eyes, a silent understanding. It's time to go. Outside, rain spatters the pavement. Logan pushes through the side door, adrenaline racing, heart pounding so loud he's sure someone can hear it. Major trots at his heel, tail stiff, ready for anything. They slide into Logan's old sedan, breath fogging the windows. Logan shoves the evidence into a backpack, hands shaking. He pulls out of the lot, lights off until he hits the main road. Major settles in the back seat, but he doesn't relax. He sits tall, staring out the window as if daring the night to come closer. Logan glances in the mirror, jaw clenched. Every car behind him is suspect. Every stoplight feels like an ambush waiting to happen. They're halfway home when Logan's phone buzzes, a message from Sean. "We were right. DNA on the glove matches a hitter named Mikhail Trotsky. Russian syndicate, big money, rumored to freelance for Black Widow." Logan's mouth goes dry. This isn't just police corruption, it's organized crime, using cops as pawns. Suddenly headlights flare behind them, blinding bright. Logan's pulse leaps. He tries to stay calm, but the car behind doesn't pass. It follows every turn. Major's growl rumbles low, a threat building in his chest. Logan makes a snap decision, cuts left into an alley, kills the headlights. The car behind slides past, then stops. For a second, everything freezes. Logan holds his breath, hand on Major's back. Then, as suddenly as it came, the car roars off into the rain. Logan sits, heart thudding, knuckles white on the wheel. Major is silent, but his eyes stay fixed on the darkness outside, shoulders tense. After a long minute, Logan pulls back onto the main road. "That's not paranoia," he whispers. "That's real." He heads straight to Sean's apartment, evidence in hand. Inside, Sean paces, hair wild, eyes red from lack of sleep. He spreads police files across his coffee table, pointing out names and dates. "Look," he says, "Hawkins signed off on every single evidence transfer. So did Deputy Chief Price. No oversight, no audits. They've been laundering evidence for years." Logan drops the glove on the table. "Trotsky's DNA," he says. "Direct link to Black Widow." Sean nods, already recording, camera pointed away from both their faces. "We need more. A money trail, a motive. If we push too hard now, they'll bury us." Major curls beside the couch, ears flicking at every noise. Logan can't shake the sense that the walls are closing in, that even here they're being watched. "We can't trust internal affairs. Hell, we can't trust half the department," he mutters. Sean sighs. "We'll have to go public slowly, piece by piece. But if Price or Hawkins catch on," the apartment goes silent as Major jerks upright, barking at the window. Logan and Sean duck, peeking out. A dark car sits across the street, engine idling, no lights on. After a tense minute, it pulls away. Logan's mind races. "I'm going to Hawkins," he says suddenly. "He still thinks I'm loyal. I'll see how he reacts to the evidence." Sean grabs his arm, desperate. "Don't be stupid." He's not on your side, but Logan's already moving, determination hardening his features. "If we're going to win, we have to take risks. I'll record everything. If I don't make it back—" "Don't talk like that," Sean interrupts, voice cracking. "We need you." Logan gives a grim smile, rubbing Major's head. "You need the truth. That's all that matters." He drives to Hawkins' office, heart pounding. Hawkins greets him with forced cheer, eyes cold. Logan lays out the evidence, photos, the mask, the glove, watching for any crack in Hawkins's armor. Hawkins barely looks at the files before his face tightens. "You're tired, Barrett. Seeing things that aren't there. Go home. Get some rest." Logan leaves, anger and dread burning in his gut. As soon as he's gone, Hawkins closes his blinds, pulls out his phone, and dials. "We have a problem. Handle it tonight." Back in the car, Major curls up, nose on Logan's knee. Logan runs a shaky hand through the dog's fur. "It's us against the city, pal. But at least we're not alone." For the first time, Logan sees how deep the rot goes, and how far he'll have to go to save Morgan. The web is tighter than he imagined, but he has allies. He has Major. And as they drive home through rain-slicked streets, he knows they'll fight, no matter the cost. Wind batters the windows as Logan guides his battered sedan through the maze of downtown Chicago, headlights cutting fleeting shapes into the drizzle. He's been running on caffeine and nerves for days now. Major rides in the back seat, eyes wide, tail thumping a slow, anxious rhythm against the seat. Always watching, always alert. Every alley, every intersection, every flicker of movement in the rear view feels like a threat. The city's pulse, once familiar, is now a symphony of danger. A voice message from Sean rattles out of the car's speakers. "Logan, be careful. They know you have the glove. Hawkins is cleaning house. Fast. Don't come home. Meet me at the old storage facility off Racine." The message cuts off in static. Logan's jaw clenches. He glances at Major in the rear view. "Looks like the storm just broke, partner." Major whines, nose pressed to the glass as if he can already sense what's coming. Logan turns off onto a deserted side street. The city is different at night, vulnerable, raw. The streetlights flicker and die, leaving the road in near total darkness. The hum of tires on wet pavement is hypnotic. Then suddenly, a pair of headlights flares to life behind them, closer than comfort, refusing to pass, refusing to fall back. Logan's stomach knots. He presses harder on the accelerator, turning left, then right, then left again. But the car behind mirrors every move. A sick certainty settles in. "Hold on, Major," he mutters. He guns the engine, cutting sharply through a red light. Horns blare, tires screech. The pursuer stays glued to his bumper. The chase is on. Major senses the tension, ears flat, hackles up. Logan spots an alley and yanks the wheel, skidding on slick asphalt, slamming the brakes just enough to make the sedan fishtail. The pursuing car overshoots but reverses hard, its own tires shrieking as it barrels after them. The next minutes are chaos, city blocks spinning past, lights and shadows flashing, adrenaline burning through exhaustion. Logan dodges through traffic, heart in his throat, every muscle straining. The sedan takes a glancing hit from behind, metal shrieks, glass cracks, then a dead end. A brick wall looms ahead, too close and too sudden. Logan swears, throws the car into reverse, but the pursuing car has boxed them in. The attackers leap out, three shapes, masked, moving with grim purpose. One brandishes a pistol, another a crowbar. Major explodes into action, barking furiously, throwing himself against the window. Logan knows this is it, fight or die. He kicks the driver's door open, rolling out onto the wet ground. A shot explodes into the night, glass shattering around him. Logan crawls, scrabbling for cover behind a dumpster. Major, seeing Logan threatened, launches himself through the now shattered window in a flash of fur and fury, teeth bared. The men hesitate, startled by the sudden assault. Major barrels into the nearest attacker, jaws clamping onto the man's arm, dragging him down. The gun goes off again, this time closer. Major yelps, a sharp, awful sound. Blood splatters onto the pavement. Logan surges up, adrenaline giving him strength he thought he'd lost. He lands a punch, sending one assailant stumbling. The other flees as sirens wail in the distance, growing louder. The men scramble back to their car, tires spinning, vanishing into the night, leaving Logan panting, shaking, half blind with fear and rage. He drops to his knees beside Major, who is bleeding from a wound in his flank, fur matted and eyes glazed with pain, but still defiant, still trying to rise. Logan's hands are slick with blood as he scoops Major up, voice cracking. "Hold on, buddy, hold on." He speeds through deserted streets, mind racing, blinking back tears as he runs every red light between him and the emergency vet clinic. Major's breathing is shallow, his head heavy in Logan's lap, but his tail thumps once, weakly, still here, still fighting. At the clinic, the staff move quickly, no questions, no hesitation, just the quiet efficiency of people who see the worst the world has to offer. Logan paces the waiting room, blood drying on his hands, his shirt, his jeans. Every second is agony. Memories of Morgan, and now Major's loyalty spiraling through his mind. Guilt gnaws at him. He failed them both. After an eternity, a vet emerges, face grave but hopeful. He's stable. The bullet missed vital organs, but it'll be a long recovery. You can see him now. Logan steps into the recovery room, the sterile air thick with antiseptic. Major lies on a blanket, bandaged, eyes half closed but brightening when he sees Logan. Logan kneels, pressing his forehead to the dog's. "You saved my life, partner. I'm not giving up, not now, not ever." Major licks Logan's hand, soft and insistent. Even wounded, he refuses to give up the fight. Logan stays by his side until dawn, the city outside inching toward morning. The world hasn't gotten safer, but Logan feels something shift, a hardening, a new resolve. Major survived, barely. Logan's faith in the system did not. He knows now. The only path is forward, no matter the cost. He will find a way to free Morgan, expose Black Widow and bring justice not just for himself, but for every loyal heart that refused to bend or break. As the sun rises, pale and uncertain, Logan looks down at Major, hope glimmering for the first time in days. "We're not done yet," he whispers. "Not by a long shot." The clang of the prison doors is an old, familiar sound now. Gray light crawls across the cement floor of Morgan Avery's cell, tracing scars in the concrete, catching on the edges of memories she can't seem to shake. Sleep comes and goes in ragged snatches, broken by the shuffle of boots, the distant echo of fights, the constant knowledge that danger waits just outside her door. Morgan has learned the rules of survival quickly. She never sits with her back to the room. She never eats until she's watched someone else take a bite first. She keeps her head down, at least outwardly, while her mind works nonstop, mapping faces and alliances, tracking the movements of guards whose uniforms hide worse secrets than any inmate's tattoos. Her greatest enemy, she's come to realize, isn't the woman in the next cell or the gangs who rule the cafeteria. It's Deputy Chief Price, whose reach stretches into these walls. It's Hawkins, whose voice still echoes in her nightmares. The guards here are his, or Price's, or both. Sometimes she feels their eyes on her, cold and certain, as if waiting for a chance to finish what was started outside. She almost died last week. She woke to a burning in her throat, choking, vision blurring. A cup of coffee left by a friendly face. "Drink up, Avery, fresh from the kitchen." She would have, if the woman in the bunk below hadn't sipped first. The woman convulsed, foaming at the mouth, before anyone could shout for help. Morgan held her, tried to clear her airway, but she was gone before the guards even bothered to arrive. The next day, Morgan found her sheets slashed, her few possessions scattered across the floor. A warning. Price's men don't need to speak, they just make it clear. You're running out of time. There are fights, too, orchestrated, purposeful. Morgan walks the yard with her head up, flanked by silence, until a shoulder slams into hers, a wordless challenge. She dodges one knife, catches another in her arm. She learns to move fast, to trust no one. But even when her body aches, even when her blood stains the concrete, she refuses to break. She refuses to die here. At night, she sits on the lower bunk, hands trembling, heart racing. She stares at the faded photo taped to the wall. Major, tongue lolling, eyes bright, sitting beside her patrol car on a summer day that feels like another life. She presses her thumb against the dog's image, using the memory of his loyalty to stitch her resolve back together. "You're still out there, aren't you?" she whispers. "Still fighting." The other inmates watch her with curiosity, sometimes respect. Word travels in places like this. They know about the poison, about the fights she doesn't start but never seems to lose. Some think she's untouchable, others think she's doomed. There are rumors, quiet voices in the lunch line, secret notes passed under food trays. One woman, old and grizzled, slides into the seat beside her. "You're not like the rest of them," she says. "You don't belong here." Morgan doesn't answer. She just keeps eating. But the truth spreads. Morgan's not the monster they say she is. She listens. She helps a woman with a broken rib, tends to another's wound, gives up her dessert for someone who hasn't had a visitor in 3 years. Slowly, grudgingly, a few of the women start to talk to her. Whispers reach her ears. Who takes which bribes? Who owes favors to which guards? Which names keep cropping up on the lips of those in charge? One night, as the autumn wind howls against the bars, the alarm blares. An execution date has been set, expedited. She has less than a week left. The walls seem to close in, pressing against her chest. She sits with her head in her hands, listening to the screams and shouts echo through the cell block. She knows she has to act, now or never. She spends the next days quietly forming alliances, not with the powerful, but with the overlooked. The invisible women who know the air ducts, the ones who clean the kitchens, the ones who've learned to listen without being seen. Together, they watch the guards, chart their routines, they memorize shift changes, track who smokes on which break, who flirts with which inmate, who disappears for 10 minutes every night. The night of the escape, a riot erupts in the cafeteria, plates crash, bodies collide, shouts rise in a wave of chaos. Morgan slips out in the confusion, following a path mapped over weeks, through the kitchen, up into the ductwork, crawling until her elbows are raw, dropping into a storage closet where her allies have left clean clothes and a stolen key card. But freedom is never easy. Price's men are waiting in the yard, flashlights sweeping. One spots her, gun raised, voice barking orders. Morgan bolts, sprinting through darkness, heart pounding so hard she can barely breathe. She leaps a fence, tearing her shirt, rolls down a slope into a drainage ditch. Shots crack the night behind her. She doesn't stop, not when her lungs burn, not when blood trickles from a wound in her leg. She runs for Major, for the truth, for her own survival. As dawn stains the sky, Morgan limps through a forgotten stretch of the city, collapsing behind a dumpster, body shaking, mind reeling. She fishes the photo of Major from her pocket, presses it to her lips, breathes in the hope it gives her. She's wounded, exhausted, but alive. Somewhere she knows, Logan and Major are still out there, following the same thread of justice. The world wants her broken, the city wants her gone, but Morgan refuses to be erased. She will find her way back no matter how impossible the odds, and this time, she's not alone. A river wind howls against rusted steel, carrying the tang of storm and old secrets. The abandoned warehouse squats by the water's edge, a forgotten scar on Chicago's landscape, rain drumming against the corrugated roof. Inside, flickering lanterns throw wild shadows across oil-stained concrete. Morgan hangs limply between two armed men, wrists bound, blood trailing from her temple where a guard's rifle butt caught her. Her body aches, her vision swimming, but her mind burns, alert, refusing to break. She remembers flashes, crawling through back alleys, stealing clothes from a forgotten clothesline, the wild chase through city streets. But she was caught. Price's men were waiting, their faces blank behind cheap black masks, dragging her into a van before she could scream. Now she's been tossed at the feet of Deputy Chief Price himself, the man who orchestrated her downfall, whose cold blue eyes glint with triumph. "You should have died in there," Price says, crouching before her. "Now you'll do it my way, on camera, a confession, clean, simple. I get a hero's medal, you get remembered as a killer." His voice is oily, patient, practiced. Morgan spits blood, glares. "You don't get to rewrite the story, Price." He smiles, stands, and nods to the guards. They haul her toward an old metal chair, cameras already set up in the far corner. The rain outside intensifies, thunder rattling the window panes. Morgan grits her teeth. She's counting the seconds, searching for any sign of hope. Outside, headlights slice through the storm, parking silently a block away. Logan crouches behind the wheel, heart pounding, eyes fixed on the dark shape of the warehouse. Beside him, Sean Beck double-checks his recorder, sweat streaking down his face despite the cold. In the back seat, Major struggles upright, bandaged but determined, eyes blazing with purpose. "Are you sure you're up for this, big guy?" Logan whispers, rubbing the dog's neck. Major nudges his hand as if to say, Try to stop me. The three of them move, silent and tight. Sean carries the USB drive and burner phone. Logan's got his old service pistol, loaded and ready. Major's limping, but he's focused, every sense straining for the scent of Morgan. The back entrance is guarded. Logan signals to Sean, who tosses a rock toward the river, drawing one guard away. Logan darts forward, taking the remaining guard down with a practiced chokehold. Major follows, nostrils flaring, every muscle tense with anticipation. Inside, the air is thick with the promise of violence. Morgan is forced to kneel, a light glaring in her eyes. Price circles her, his words oily and false. Confess and it's quick. Resist and we'll make you wish you had. Cameras roll. Morgan's voice is ragged, but her gaze never wavers. I'd rather die fighting than live as a coward. Price slaps her hard. She doesn't flinch. Suddenly, the lights flicker. Sean, working from outside, has cut the generator. Confusion erupts. Morgan uses the moment, slamming her head back into her guard's nose, sending him stumbling. Logan bursts in, gun raised, voice steely. Drop it, now! The room erupts in chaos. A guard fires, bullets zipping past Logan as he dives for cover. Sean grabs Morgan, drags her behind an overturned table. Price snarls, drawing a gun, but Major barrels into him, fangs flashing. The two crash to the ground, Major biting down on Price's arm, refusing to let go, even as another guard strikes him with a metal pipe. Logan fires, winging a guard in the shoulder. Morgan, barely conscious, manages to grab a loose chain, swinging it into a thug's knees. Sean wrestles with a camera, making sure it records every desperate second. The fight is brutal, pain, fury, fear, all tangled together. Major takes a savage blow to the ribs, yelps, but he doesn't back down. He pins Price, snarling as the man fumbles with a strange, flesh-colored object, a biopolymer mask. Suddenly, Lieutenant Hawkins appears at the far end of the warehouse, trying to slip away, the same mask pressed to his face. Sean shouts, "Don't let him go!" Logan lunges, tackling Hawkins, tearing the mask off just as police sirens wail outside. The mask peels away, revealing Hawkins' true face, caught on camera by Sean's rolling phone. The other guards, seeing the tide turn, drop their weapons. Some try to flee, but squad cars screech up, blue and red lights slicing through the storm. Dozens of officers pour in, guns drawn. Price is cuffed, bleeding, curses foaming on his lips. Morgan sags to the floor, exhausted but unbroken. Major limps toward her, body battered but tail wagging, tongue lolling with joy. She drops to her knees, throws her arms around his thick neck, tears cutting clean lines through the grime on her cheeks. For a moment, the world falls away. No pain, no fear, just the thundering relief of reunion. Logan kneels beside them, pressing a hand to Morgan's shoulder. Sean's phone still records, capturing everything. The masks, the confessions, the twisted symbol of Black Widow etched into the evidence. The truth, undeniable now, floods the room. As the rain slows and the warehouse fills with police, Morgan looks up, bloodied, bruised, but finally free. Major leans against her, refusing to move, his loyalty carved into every scar, every breath. Chicago's storm has broken, but for Morgan, Major, and Logan, a new day has finally begun. Months have passed since the night that changed everything. Chicago's courthouse, once the scene of Morgan's humiliation and despair, now glows with the sharp sunlight of early spring. The courtroom is packed, journalists shoulder to shoulder, police officers in dress blues, Morgan's family in the front row. The city holds its breath, waiting for justice to speak. This time, the story is hers. Morgan sits at the defense table, back straight but hands trembling slightly on her lap. Major is beside her, fur shining in the sun that streams through stained glass, a bandage still wrapping his side. He looks every bit the hero the city now whispers about in cafes and headlines. Logan sits behind them, a rock in the tide of public attention, and Sean, notebook in hand, eyes scanning every face. The air crackles with anticipation as the judge calls the room to order. Reporters lift their pens, cameras click softly, but for a heartbeat, Morgan hears only the thud of her own heart and the soft, rhythmic breath of the dog by her side. She rises to speak, her voice wavering at first, but gaining strength with every word. "This is not just my story," she says, gaze sweeping over the room. "It belongs to everyone who's ever been silenced, betrayed, or left behind." Faces turn, the weight of her words settling like new law. She thanks Major first, her voice almost breaking. He never gave up on me, even when the world did. When I doubted myself, when I thought I'd be forgotten, Major was still there, fighting for the truth. Her hand drifts to his head. Major lifts his chin, tail thumping once, a silent punctuation to her words. Logan meets her gaze, pride and apology mixing in his eyes. He thinks of every moment he doubted her, every time he let the system's flaws blind him to what he should have known in his bones. Morgan was the bravest, most loyal partner he'd ever had, and he let her down. She nods to him, a forgiveness given and received in a glance. The room hushes as Morgan speaks of resilience. I bear scars on my body, yes, but more inside. Betrayal and injustice don't just hurt, they hollow you out. But it's in those broken places that you find what can't be destroyed. The will to fight, the hope that things can change, the love you carry for those who stood by you and for those you couldn't save. Major sits tall, as if he understands every word. He leans gently against her leg, warm and unyielding. The judge watches, emotion flickering across his usually impassive features. Morgan's voice steadies as she talks of loyalty. Loyalty isn't just following orders. True loyalty is risking everything for what's right, even when it's dangerous or unpopular. Major didn't risk his life because someone told him to. He did it because he believed in something bigger than himself. Because truth and justice and the bond we share matter more than fear. She addresses the corruption that almost destroyed her. Power can be twisted, turned against those who trust in it most. It's not enough to hope for justice. We have to build it every day by holding each other accountable, by refusing to look away when something feels wrong, no matter the cost. Morgan pauses, searching the faces of those who looked away, those who whispered, those who stood up. There were nights I wanted to give up. Nights when even Major's memory couldn't reach me. But love, real love, the kind that forgives, was what finally set me free. I forgave those who failed me, and I forgave myself for my anger and despair. That's what healed me. Her voice softens as she turns to her supporters. Courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet persistence, the refusal to surrender, the willingness to take just one more step no matter how afraid you are. I survived because I wasn't alone. Logan, Sean, and everyone who risked their safety to expose the truth, they saved me. Logan places a hand on Major's back, steady and strong. The old dog shifts closer to Morgan, his eyes bright, his presence grounding the room. The judge stands. This city owes you a debt, Officer Avery. And to Major, who showed us all the meaning of loyalty and courage, we award the highest K-9 honor. The courtroom bursts into applause as the bailiff steps forward, pinning a gleaming medal to Major's collar. The dog sits, regal and alert, tail wagging gently. The applause builds, a tidal wave of relief and celebration. It's not just victory, it's the return of dignity, of hope, of faith that the truth can still win. Morgan feels it all, gratitude, exhaustion, a quiet peace settling over wounds that may never fully heal, but can finally begin to close. As the noise fades, the judge leans forward. Officer Avery, what will you do next? Morgan glances down at Major, her smile soft but fierce. We'll keep fighting for those who can't. We'll keep shining a light, no matter how dark the night. The city outside is waiting, but for now, in this room, bathed in sunlight, united in truth, the storm has finally passed. Summer breathes easy over Chicago, the air thick with sun and the sound of children laughing in the Memorial Park. For the first time in years, the city seems at peace. Police officers gather in small knots beneath the tall elms, some in crisp dress blues, others in plain clothes, all changed by the storm that nearly swallowed them. Cameras flash, news vans line the street, but the tension is gone, replaced by something quieter, deeper, and hard-won. Morgan Avery kneels in the grass beside Major, her uniform jacket folded on her knees, her badge polished to a shine. The great German shepherd sits tall at her side, the fur on his flank trimmed around a fresh scar, but his tail wagging slow and steady. He looks older, maybe grayer at the muzzle, stiffer in his stride, but his eyes hold the same unwavering light that saved her life more times than she can count. People approach in small groups, officers, children, citizens who followed the trial on every screen in the city. Some offer thanks, some ask for photos with Major, whose medal gleams in the sunlight. The children laugh as Major gently licks their hands, patient with their awe, his dignity undiminished even by their clumsy hugs. For a moment, Morgan lets herself watch, lets herself believe in the goodness of this new day. Nearby, Logan stands talking with Sean Beck, who scribbles notes for a piece he promises will be his last on the Avery case. They look tired but proud, like men who survived a war and lived to see their side win, even if the scars will never fully fade. Morgan stands, brushing grass from her slacks. She looks out over the gathered crowd, some faces familiar, others strangers drawn by the story of a cop and her dog who refused to give up. The mayor waits beside the memorial statue for fallen canines, ready to make a speech, but all eyes are on Morgan as she steps forward. She speaks not as an officer cleared of charges, but as someone changed, someone who has lost, fought, and returned stronger for it. Today, Morgan says, her voice ringing clear, isn't just about what we survived, it's about what we choose to do with it. When darkness comes, it's easy to believe you're alone. But loyalty, true loyalty, shines brightest in the night. Her gaze finds Major, who sits in the grass, looking up at her as if he alone understands the weight of her words. Justice doesn't come from systems alone, she continues, but from the courage of those who refuse to be silent. Major taught me that. He stood between me and the end, again and again, not because he was ordered, but because love and truth matter more than fear or rules. She pauses as a soft breeze stirs the trees, watching the sunlight play across the badge on her palm. If you remember nothing else from our story, remember this. You can make a difference. You can stand up when others fall silent. You can hold on, even when hope is all you have left. There's a hush, a deep, respectful silence. Logan steps forward, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. Tell them about the foundation, he urges, his voice warm. Morgan nods. We're starting something new, a foundation for canine therapy and police accountability. It's for the dogs who heal our scars, and for the people who need a voice when the system gets it wrong. It's for Major, and for every soul who refuses to let injustice win. Sean grins, raising his camera to capture the moment. Around them, officers nod, moved by her conviction. The children clap, voices rising with hope. Even the older cops, those who once doubted her, look at Morgan and Major with new respect. The mayor hands her a certificate, a small gesture next to everything she's endured. Thank you for reminding us what courage looks like, he says, shaking her hand. You and Major have given this city back its hope. As the ceremony winds down, Morgan kneels beside Major, pressing her forehead to his. We made it, partner, she whispers, tears prickling her eyes. Against everything, we made it. Logan, Sean, and a small crowd gather for a group photo, laughter and relief in their voices. Major sits at the center, his presence a living reminder of everything they survived. For the first time, Morgan doesn't feel haunted. She feels free. She turns back to the crowd, raising her voice for all to hear. If this story has touched you, let it move you to action. Stand up for those who can't defend themselves. Speak out against injustice. Treasure the bonds that hold us together. If you have a story of hope, courage, or loyalty, share it. Leave a paw print in the comments and subscribe for more stories that prove love and truth can change the world. The children cheer. The officers clap. The city's skyline glows in the golden hour light. Major's eyes shine as he leans into Morgan's arms, the scar on his side proof that every battle has meaning. As the sun sets, casting long shadows over the park, Morgan stands surrounded by those she loves. She hugs Major close, her voice barely more than a breath. We're home. The camera lingers on Major's gentle gaze, the medal at his throat, and the ripple of hope spreading out from this place. One story, one act of courage, one loyal heart at a time. The end.